bienvenidos, bienvenue, и добро пожаловать. I will not be translating into any of those languages. I just wanted to flex. This channel is dedicated to having open, honest, and maybe even fun, who's to say, conversation about sex and everything pertaining to sex. Penises, vaginas, everything in between, everything outside of the box, everything in the box, everything. We can have a better world if we all talk about sex. I am not a doctor. I know I had some of you fooled. It's just a toy. Come on. And I'm actually not a professor. I know I look like one from earlier. They are prescription. But no. Neither a teacher nor a doctor. However, I have mastered the school of life. Basically, I want to share my thoughts and feelings, and as a permanent resident, not yet citizen of this country, I believe that's my right. My first lesson is to say the word sex comfortably. Say it with me. Sex. 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 First topic, first discussion. How we address sex. The discomfort and awkwardness associated with just saying the word sex is so unhealthy and so obviously shows the origins of this country. I'm specifically talking about the US, but this is a global issue in most countries where sex is not discussed openly or comfortably. And in the US, it's because of our frickin' Puritan values. When they first came here, it was taboo to even discuss sex. The teacher, professor that I am, I found this gorgeous little primary source from JSTOR for you guys. Henry Adams once observed that Americans have ostentatiously ignored. Wow, gorgeous word, gorgeous word. I wish they didn't always use such gorgeous words, so then I wouldn't have to look this up later, but I will. Hopefully you all understand what that means. He could think of only two American writers who touched upon the subject with any degree of boldness, Walt Whitman and Bret Harte. Since the time when Adams made this penetrating... Woo! Woo! Was that a pun? Was that a pun, Edmund? Edmund, you dog. You dog. Americans, by comparison with Europeans or Asiatics, that's interesting, are squeamish when confronted with the facts of life. My purpose is not to account for this squeamishness, but simply to point out that the Puritans, those bogeymen of the modern intellectual, are not responsible for it. Wow, okay. So, I mean, this is just one source. There are so many in the world, but let's just keep reading a little bit. Okay, yeah, I like in other words. Let's start from in other words. In other words, sexual intercourse was a human necessity and marriage was the only proper supply for it. That is where I'll leave it. You know what I mean? It's super conservative values, super outdated, traditional, whoa. It's not in line with how progressive the country is, and I think we need to check ourselves. So, the birds. The bees. The birds, the bees. The birds and the bees, the birds, bees, bees and the birds, bees and birds. Truly, what on earth? Who? Why? I don't even know where it comes from, what it comes from. Let's just do that real quick. The phrase "the bird and the bees" is a metaphor for explaining the relying on the imagery of bees pollinating and eggs hatching to substitute for a more technical explanation. It is a way of deflecting. I like this. It sure is. Where do babies come from? It is an alternative to the explanation that the stork delivers babies. How about explaining how babies are made? The connection between sexuality and eggs and pollination is vague, which can cause some confusion. Curious children? All children are curious. What does Wikipedia say, out of curiosity? Expression and euphemism that refers to courtship. Oh my, not courtship. The birds and the bees talk, sometimes known simply as the talk. Yes. God, I hate that. The talk. Dun dun. All I hear is Law and Order. Is generally the event in most children's lives in which the parents explain what sexual relationships are. The Birds and the Bees is a metaphorical story sometimes told to children in an attempt to explain the mechanics and good consequences of sexual intercourse through reference to easily observed natural events. Ooh, possible origins. Cute. Word sleuths. Great word. What? Am I stupid for not knowing? We're getting off track. Word sleuths. William and Mary Morris hint that it might have been inspired by words like these from the poet Samuel Coleridge of 1825. Oh my, swallow. Wait, this got a little... I skipped down and it's got a little juicy over here.
Correlates to the birds and the bees in one sense. The one some cause the...
Okay, well, thanks, my guy. Who is this guy? Cole Porter? Wait, is he even one of these people that did the poems? Who's this guy? Why is he featured in this article? I guess if I read further down, I'd figure that out, but I'm not going to. Let's do one more. Just because you should always get a little bit of everything. When parents engage in the big sex talk, with their children, it's likely that more than a few still call it the story of the birds and the bees. It's safe because the word sex is dangerous. You never know what's going to happen if you say the word sex. You just don't know. I mean, it's, to get into a potentially embarrassing discussion. Safe enough, even for the name of a column in a family newspaper. See, what's so dangerous? So the origin is obviously just two old poet guys. When we use a metaphor for anything, instead of addressing it by what it actually is, you're immediately instilling the idea that that thing is uncomfortable to discuss or not something that you can actually address by its name. The birds and the bees are definitely not as common as they used to be.
The talk.
Dun dun. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. You tell me you want to have the talk? Dun dun. But it's like, it gets so serious. It's almost like you're in trouble. And you're just talking about, like, how humans are made. Like, are we just discussing how I'm on this earth? And this is discomfort.
No.
Parents, guardians, caretakers, grandparents, older siblings, if you have the opportunity to have this talk, call it what it is. There's no need to feel shame about talking about this. I have secrets that I will share with you. You're welcome in advance. Secrets or / advice on talking about sex with kids or, preteens, teens, whatever. Although I think the younger the better, to be honest. Obviously, different conversations for different age groups, regardless. Vulnerability. As soon as you become vulnerable to the child, you instill comfort in the space, the zone. Because you get a little more comfortable. You're uncomfortable because you're being vulnerable. But think about the kid. The kid's like, we're having the talk. Once you have vulnerability down, you instantly become relatable. Be relatable. When you can relate, when the kid feels like they can relate, boom, comfort level 100%. Once there's a level of comfort, everyone's happy. We'll be discussing masturbation in the next video. Stay tuned.